Coming off one of the least snowy winters in Baltimore history, will we be in for a different story over the next few months? We're obsessing over this a little bit.
We are obsessing a little bit, and we'll see. Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers shares this year's winter weather outlook.
Well, here it is. This is the Fox 45 2023-2024 winter outlook. So there are a few things that I look at when I put the outlook together to judge what kind of winter we're going to see around here. Well, number one is what we would call Eurasian snow cover extent. In other words, the amount of snow in October specifically that's over Siberia. There's also a look at sea ice that's accumulated on what's called the Barents Sea, which is north of Siberia. That's got signals that have been observed in connection with the strength of the winter along the East Coast, and most specifically in Maryland and the Mid-Atlantic. And also is La Nina or El Nino forecast. La Nina is a cooling of the waters over the equatorial Pacific, whereas El Nino is the opposite, the warming of the waters over the equatorial Pacific. And that's been a recent change that we've seen. We've had dominant La Nina lately, but now we've switched over to El Nino for this winter. So first, let's take a look at the pillar number one, if you will, the current snow cover versus average over Siberia. This is for the month of October. And you see here the blues, that is snowier than average, and the reds are less snowy than average. And you see the blue here, that means a little bit more snow than average. And if you have a little bit more snow than average in Siberia, typically it leads to a colder and more severe East Coast winter. Now, thing is, you look here, this is a general rule, but you look here and you see that, yeah, the snow cover has been above average for many of the past years, except for 2011. Now, if you remember last year, yeah, we had that above average snowfall, but guess what? We only had 0.2 inches of snow around here, a record lowest amount for Baltimore. But overall, if you look at the pattern that's generally consistent here, snow cover extent that we have over Siberia will favor below average temperatures around here and above average snowfall, at least a little bit below average temperatures and a little bit above average snowfall. Now, in terms of the sea ice coverage over the Barents Sea, you see here there's not a whole lot there. And in fact, that is below average for this time of year. And really what that is going to mean for us is the potential of a weakening polar vortex. So that would allow cold air to sink south from the Arctic. So sea ice cover actually favors below average temperatures here on the East Coast during the winter. So far, the takeaways, colder and snowier than average. Perhaps that'd be a big change over what we saw last year. Now, let's take a look at what we expect around here in Baltimore for El Nino years. Now, if you have a moderate El Nino, the temperatures run typically way below average. Now, if you have a strong El Nino, they run way above average. And actually, the idea is that potentially we will start our winter with a moderate El Nino, but then it looks like, or actually I should say, we'll start our winter with a strong El Nino and then end our winter with a moderate El Nino. So that means maybe the snow may be weighted toward, say, the first of the year and beyond. Now, in terms of precipitation, these El Nino years where it's weak to moderate, like we're expecting around here, higher than average precipitation, and there you go. For a moderate El Nino, winter snowfall goes way above average, but a strong El Nino, like we'll see in the first portion of the year, equates to right around average snowfall. So in terms of El Nino winters around here, and in terms of snowfall, overall, it's greater than average, but you add in overall a moderate to strong El Nino, that's a signal of the blue here, a much snowier than average pattern, or a much higher than average precipitation pattern with near or below average temperatures here in Baltimore. So Eurasian snow cover favors a slightly colder and maybe a little bit more snowy winter here in Baltimore. Sea ice coverage favors a colder than average winter in Maryland, and a moderate to strong El Nino favors the potential of near or below average temperatures and more snow than average, as well as above average precipitation. And that would mainly come in a few storms, potentially maybe a couple of big ones as we head towards the end of the winter. So here are our numbers. These are the averages. And as I promised you here, it looks like it's going to be a little bit colder than average. But look at that, potential of over 28 inches of snow. That's what my forecast is saying for winter 2023-2024. We and our shovels will see.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, Jonathan's entire winter weather outlook will be up on our website momentarily. Just head to foxbaltimore.com, click on the weather.